As you see, we have these beautiful letters that the president has signed. This one is to the president of the Republic of Korea, original signature on that. And then here we also have another letter to the prime minister of Japan as well. Both countries will be receiving a 25% tariff rate effective on August 1st. The president will also sign an executive order today delaying the July 9th deadline to August 1st. So the reciprocal tariff rate or these new rates will be going out the door within the next month, or deals will be made.
And can you tell me why he decided to start with South Korea and Japan? Are they annoying him?
Given the fact that the president put into effect the tariffs on April 2nd and then put the pause into place, is the president at all concerned that these countries that are receiving the letters won't take them seriously because the deadline seems to have shifted already and may shift again?
Just about the visit of Prime Minister Netanyahu today, I was just wondering why that is not open to the press. Previous visits by him, we've had Oval Office press conferences. Does that reflect somehow the kind of sensitivity of this particular visit?
Caroline, the DOJ and FBI have now concluded there was no Jeffrey Epstein client list. What do you tell MAGA supporters who say they want anyone involved in Jeffrey Epstein's alleged crimes to be held accountable?
This systematic review revealed no incriminating client list. So what happened to the Epstein client list that the Attorney General said she had on her desk?
And in the scenario that Hamas turns over the remaining hostages, that the war could come to a permanent end, and that they will seek that under that scenario that they would essentially try to bring this war to a permanent end beyond just that 60-day ceasefire.
Can you just please walk us through the decision to halt the supply of weapons to Ukraine at a time when Russia is really hitting Ukrainian cities and civilians? Was
Sure.
that the president who decided that, or did the Pentagon do it without his approval?
Megan.
Secretary Bessent said yesterday that countries will boomerang back to the April 2nd tariff level starting August 1st. Why did the president decide to have those tariffs not take effect Wednesday as originally scheduled? And then I was also wondering if you could share, obviously we saw the letters the president sent out on Japan and South Korea, but if any other major U.S. trading partners are getting letters today.
Sure, yes, I can confirm. In fact, I have those letters. If you could get me the folder with the letters in them, Liz, they're right in the previous office. I have the signed letters that went out to both South Korea and Japan today. And there will be approximately 12 other countries that will receive notifications and letters directly from the President of the United States. And weeks ago, I stood at this podium and I told all of you that the President was going to create tailor-made trade plans for each and every country on this planet. And that's what this administration continues to be focused on. The president will also sign an executive order today delaying the July 9th deadline to August 1st. So the reciprocal tariff rate or these new rates that will be provided in this correspondence to these foreign leaders will be going out the door within the next month, or deals will be made. And those countries continue to negotiate with the United States. We've seen a lot of positive developments in the right direction, but the administration, the president and his trade team want to cut the best deals for the American people and the American worker. That's what they're focused on. And in the effort of transparency, these letters will continue to be posted to Truth Social, so you can enjoy them yourself. Go ahead.
Thanks, Caroline. Just about the visit of Prime Minister Netanyahu today, I was just wondering why that is not open to the press. Previous visits by him, we've had Oval Office press conferences. Does that reflect somehow the kind of sensitivity of this particular visit?
No, they're having a private dinner. There's many important matters that are obviously ongoing in the region, as you know. The utmost priority for the president right now in the Middle East is to end the war in Gaza and to return all of the hostages. Also, as you know, there was a ceasefire proposal that Israel supports that was sent to Hamas, and we hope that they will agree to this proposal. We want to see all of the hostages released. That's on the top of the president's mind, so that will be discussed, as well as the many other positive developments we've seen in the Middle East. I want to go back to the trade deals. As you see, we have these beautiful letters that the president has signed. This one is to the president of the Republic of Korea, original signature on that, and these will be mailed. And then here we also have another letter to the prime minister of Japan as well. Both countries will be receiving a 25% tariff rate effective on August 1st. Michael in the back.
Thank you, Caroline. An armed shooter today was shot in McAllen, Texas, after opening fire on Border Patrol agents. Comes just days after Democratic Congresswoman Pramila Jayapal recently said she gets, quote, inspired when activists obstruct ICE. Does the White House expect Democrats to tone down their rhetoric in light of what we saw today in McAllen, Texas?
We certainly call on Democrats to tone down their rhetoric against ICE and Border Patrol agents who, again, are everyday men and women. I would encourage AOC and other Democrats to actually meet with the United States Border Patrol. These are honorable Americans who are just simply trying to do their job to enforce the law. They go home to their families every night just like we all do, and they deserve respect and dignity for trying to enforce our nation's immigration laws and to remove public safety threats from our communities. The White House is aware of the shooting that took place today in Texas, and we are working with the appropriate federal agencies to get to the bottom of what happened.
Caroline, the DOJ and FBI have now concluded there was no Jeffrey Epstein client list. What do you tell MAGA supporters who say they want anyone involved in Jeffrey Epstein's alleged crimes to be held accountable?
This administration wants anyone who has ever committed a crime to be held accountable. And I would argue this administration has done more to lock up bad guys than certainly the previous administration. And the Trump administration is committed to truth and to transparency. That's why the Attorney General and the FBI Director pledged at the president's direction to do an exhaustive review of all of the files related to Jeffrey Epstein's crimes and his death. And they put out a memo in conclusion of that review. There was material they did not release because, frankly, it was incredibly graphic and it contained child pornography, which is not something that's appropriate for public consumption. But they committed to an exhaustive investigation. That's what they did, and they provided the results of that. That's transparency.
Okay, so the FBI looks at the circumstances surrounding the death of Jeffrey Epstein. According to the report, this systematic review revealed no incriminating client list. So what happened to the Epstein client list that the Attorney General said she had on her desk?
Well, I think if you go back and look at what the Attorney General said in that interview, which was on your network on Fox News.
Got the quote.
Go ahead.
John Roberts said, DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients. Will that really happen? And she said, it's sitting on my desk right now to review.
Yes, she was saying the entirety of all of the paperwork, all of the paper in relation to Jeffrey Epstein's crimes. That's what the Attorney General was referring to, and I'll let her speak for that. But again, when it comes to the FBI and the Department of Justice, they are more than committed to ensuring that bad people are put behind bars. They have an operation going on right now called Summer Heat, which has our murder rate trending in the lowest direction in United States history. Their emphasis on violent crime and locking up violent criminals has led to the arrest of 14,000 violent criminals. That's a 62% increase from the same time period last year. So this Attorney General and the FBI Director are committed to putting bad people behind bars where they belong. They promised an exhaustive review. That's what they did. For any further details, I would refer you to the Department of Justice. Josh.
A couple more on the tariffs. You said about 12 more letters. There were about 55 or so countries, including the EU as a bloc, that were facing this tariff increase. All of those, to understand you correctly, are now deferred to August 1st, right?
Correct.
And on the 12, what happens with the remaining, whatever it would be, 40 something?
So just 12 today. There will be additional letters in the coming days.
So all of them are going to get a letter at some point?
Correct.
Okay, and can you tell me why he decided to start with South Korea and Japan? Are they annoying him?
It's the president's prerogative, and those are the countries he chose.
And on the sectoral tariffs, it's our understanding that these continue to be a separate track. We're still waiting on a bunch of those.
That's right.
Is there any timing update on when he's going to move on, for instance, semiconductor tariffs and other things that are still in the hopper?
I don't have a timing update, but for where they are in the process, I would defer you to the Department of Commerce.
Should we expect deals finally as well? He announced this Vietnam deal. Are you close on any other countries?
The president and the administration, yes, we are close. But again, the president wants to ensure these are the best deals possible. Go ahead.
Me? Hi, Caroline. Thank you. Ahead of
And you can go too, since you're so eager.
ahead of the president's meeting with Prime Minister Netanyahu today, is there a scenario where Israel has made it clear that they will not bring an end to this war until Hamas is decimated? And the president just 5 months ago suggested a potential takeover of Gaza. Is there a situation where tonight the two men will change their posture, and in the scenario that Hamas turns over the remaining hostages, that the war could come to a permanent end, and that they will seek that under that scenario that they would essentially try to bring this war to a permanent end beyond just that 60-day ceasefire?
Again, that's your putting a hypothetical situation in the air, so I don't want to comment on that out of respect for these ongoing negotiations and discussions that are taking place. But as for the takeover of Gaza, I don't believe the president ever said that. I think he discussed a rebuilding of Gaza once this war is over. This has become an uninhabitable place for human beings, and the president has a big heart. He wants this to be a prosperous, safe part of the region where people and families can thrive, and there will be a need for a real rebuilding effort when the time comes. But right now we need to end this war, and we need to bring all of the hostages home. The president is adamant about that.
The war tonight.
Look, again, I will let the president speak for himself later if he decides to comment on the details of the agreement, but out of respect for the discussions, I won't do that from the podium. Sure, go ahead. Iris, go ahead.
Thank you, Caroline. Thank you, Caroline. On two topics. First,
I
on
love how
tariffs.
excited everyone is on Monday. Yes, Raquel, you can go after.
On two topics. First, tariffs. The president announced last night that any countries aligning themselves with the anti-American policies of BRICS
That's right.
will be charged with an additional 10% tariff. Can you tell us more details on that? What specific policies is the president talking about here? What policies should countries stay away from to avoid being subject to additional tariffs?
Sure. Well, the president feels, generally speaking, that BRICS is seeking to undermine the interests of the United States. It's the president's utmost responsibility to put the interests of the United States first. That's how he views his job as president. So he's going to ensure that America is fairly treated on the world stage, and he'll take any action necessary to prevent countries from taking advantage of the United States and our people. Sean.
Hey, Caroline, can you just please walk us through the decision to halt the supply of weapons to Ukraine at a time when Russia is really hitting Ukrainian cities and civilians? Was
Sure.
that the president who decided that, or did the Pentagon do it without his approval?
No, neither of those things are true. I'm happy to walk you through it. This was a standard review by the Pentagon of all weapons and all aid and all support that the United States is providing all countries and all regions around the world, not just Ukraine. When the Secretary of Defense took office, he directed the Pentagon to conduct this review to ensure that everything that's going out the door aligns with America's interests. So it's a pause to review to ensure that everything the Pentagon is pushing out there is in the best interest of our military and our men and women in uniform. Fran.
Two questions on Israel. You suggested that Hamas is the impediment currently to a ceasefire. So if not a ceasefire deal, then what does the president hope to achieve with tonight's dinner with the prime minister?
Again, you guys are getting around to a lot of hypotheticals. I don't want to get ahead of the president, but there are many other issues to discuss with Prime Minister Netanyahu tonight related to the region and just the entire world. So this will be a dinner to talk about Operation Midnight Hammer, which was incredibly successful, to talk about peace in Gaza and ending that conflict, as well as many other topics of discussion in relation to Israel and the United States. Sure, go ahead.
Thank you, Caroline. Given the fact, this is on the trade letters, given the fact that the president put into effect the tariffs on April 2nd and then put the pause into place, is the president at all concerned that these countries that are receiving the letters won't take them seriously because the deadline seems to have shifted already and may shift again?
They will take the letters seriously because they have taken the president seriously. And that's why the president's phone, I can tell you, rings off the hook from world leaders all the time who are begging him to come to a deal. And this administration is working hard to ensure those deals are in the best interest of the American people. And this delay, again, is in the best interest of the American people. And you all will continue to see these letters released on the president's Truth Social, and we will see you all later. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Caroline.